The Orioles and their fans wrapping up a week-long stay here in Chicago. They swept the White Sox on the south side, but they're trying to avoid being swept by the Cubs on the north side. It's the Hyundai leadoff man on WGN Sports. The Orioles and Cubs coming up. Hope your weekend's going well. Along with Jim DeShays, I'm Len Casper. The sun is shining. Hopefully it will not rain today. It's been a bizarre week, hasn't it?
Yeah, yesterday 3:09 the time of game, and we had a 3-hour 9-minute rain delay as well. But the good news for the Cubs is they pitched very well. Arrieta as a starter than the bullpen yesterday. They've held this hard-hitting Oriole team to just 3 runs so far this weekend.
So a lot of Oriole fans here in Chicago. This week, we mentioned they swept the Sox, but the Cubs beat them on Friday. Kyle Hendricks struggled a little bit early on as the Orioles got a run in each of the first 2 innings. Jones with the RBI in the first. And then Bud Norris with a ground ball that just got past Luis Valbuena. J.J. Hardy is in, and it's 2-0, but the bottom of the second, the key inning before the rain delay.
Yeah, real good at-bats by the Cubs throughout that inning. Luis Valbuena started with a walk. There was a couple of soft hits, one infield, one blooper, as you see here. But the Cubs take full advantage. Kyle Hendricks actually had a really good at-bat, ultimately struck out. They made Norris throw a ton of pitches in that inning. He was clearly fatigued. Chris Coughlin takes full advantage, whacking that triple into the right field corner, and the Cubs scored 3 with 1 swing of the bat.
And then it started to rain really hard. They got the tarp on the field, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited. And then after 3 hours and 9 minutes, Justin Grimm got the call.
A little surprised to see Justin Grimm get the call that early. Not surprised to see him throw the ball as well as he did. He's been pitching very well of late, but he really stretched it out yesterday. 3 1/3 innings, allowed just 1 walk, no hits, punched out 3. Really good work from Grimm and the rest of the bullpen after the lengthy rain delay.
Javier Baez had homered on Friday, and then after 3 strikeouts to start his day yesterday, goes to the opposite field. So his second homer of the series. Zach Rosscup with a big lead in the 9th. It's a ground ball. Watkins makes the play. Cubs win 7-2. How about the pitching in the series and the bullpen? As you mentioned, the Cubs overall have only allowed 3 runs in the first 2 games.
Yeah, Arrieta went 7 innings in the opener, so that kind of rested the bullpen, and they delivered yesterday. Grimm outstanding, Wright, Ramirez, Rosscup all coming in behind and pitching well as well.
Time for our Hyundai Dealers Spotlight. The leadoff man is brought to you by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come test drive the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit myhyundaichicago.com. Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come in and test drive our award-winning lineup today. Visit buyhyundai.com.
Tell you what, the Jackie Robinson West Little League team has captured the hearts of everyone in this city. They're in the Little League World Series final today against South Korea after a thrilling win over Nevada.
Yeah, this whole tournament has been so much fun to watch these kids perform. They look like men out there on the field. Some big, very talented kids all over the tournament, but we're focusing on the Jackie Robinson West group for obvious reasons, and boy, they have been a lot of fun.
Big two-run homer by Trey Hondras, bottom of the first. They were down 3-0. That made it 3-2. Then they had a 4-3 lead in the fifth yesterday. Two-run homer by Brad Stone. So Nevada's ahead 5-4. Chicago would come back to tie it. In the bottom of the fifth, Brandon Green, fielder's choice. Ground ball, they get the out at second, but a run scores. That makes it 6-5. And then Ed Howard with a ground ball to second. Tricky bouncer just gets under the legs of the second baseman. 7-5. And then how about to end the game? A 1-6-3 double play.
That's the thing that's really impressed me. The defensive play. Look at the first baseman laying out to make the catch there at first base. You know, they say there's no crying in baseball, but with the emotions, the pressure on these kids, it's a lot of fun to watch. They rise and fall with every single play.
Well, we wish them the best today in the Little League Finals. We'll go first to third around the majors when we come back.
Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come in and test drive our award-winning lineup today. Visit buyhyundai.com.
Let's go first to third. You've got a great race out west in the American League. 76-52, the A's and the Angels. Oakland winning on a wild pitch in the eighth inning yesterday. The Reds, and that'll be the Cubs' next opponent, ending a 7-game losing streak, might leak into the seventh as they beat the Braves 1-0. And the Twins, 32 runs in 2 games combined as they beat the Tigers Friday night and Saturday before losing last night. Cubs baseball is next. Cubs continue to celebrate Wrigley Field's 100th birthday as we finish up the 90s homestand, and the Cubs and the Orioles today wearing 1994 throwbacks. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Always great to have you with us. Jim Deshaies, Len Casper. Nice day here at the ballpark. Cubs 3-2 on the homestand, looking for the sweep. Logan Watkins is here because Starlin Castro is on the bereavement list, and Watkins has had a really nice weekend.
Yeah, he spent a little time with the Cubs last year, and I think his goal this year is to come in and really impress. Not sure how many chances he's going to get, but he's really playing aggressive baseball. He's made a couple spectacular plays in the field. He's been swinging the bat well. He's been running the bases aggressively. It's as if he's saying, hey, guys, I know you got a lot of big names, big prospects, but I can play this game a little bit as well.
So Watkins in the lineup again today. Matt Caesar is going to get a start as well. Watkins driving in 3 runs over the first 2 games of this series, and the Cubs really need that offensive support here without Castro, their cleanup hitter.
And so 3 out of 6 in this series against the Orioles. He's a kid who down at AAA played every position except the pitcher and catcher, and that's going to be his path to the big leagues, his ability to move around the field.
33-year-old left-handed rookie starter Tsuyoshi Wada will face the team that originally brought him over from Japan.
Yeah, last 5 starts, 3-0 with a 2.08. He's been very, very effective with his fastball up in the strike zone. Got hurt with the Orioles in the minor leagues, so never did appear in the big leagues with them.
Right-hander Miguel Gonzalez replacing Ubaldo Jimenez in the Orioles rotation.
He's kind of like a right-handed version of Wada. Not an overpowering guy, but he's been good, and lately on the road, he's been really good.
Let's send it down to the field. The Messmers have God Bless America, followed by our national anthem.
Nation with God Bless America, followed by our national anthem.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Messmers getting us set for Cubs baseball, and a team that's getting a little younger. Arizmendi Alcantara with 3 hits in the ball game yesterday. We mentioned Watkins off the top as well. Cubs baseball from Wrigley Field coming up next. You buy Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. Ford, manufacturers of America's best-selling brand. Check out our best-selling lineup at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. And by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Cubs baseball in high definition on WGN TV is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Left-hander Tsuyoshi Wada will face this Orioles lineup. They have lost 2 games on their lead in the East. Still a pretty healthy 7-game advantage, as Nick Markakis, without a hit in the series, will lead it off. Steve Pearce is at first. Adam Jones in center. Look at that, 288. All 3 guys at the top. Cruz, the major league home run leader. J.J. Hardy ahead of Chris Davis, who's at third base with Manny Machado done for the season. Caleb Joseph will catch for the 2nd time in the series. Jonathan Scope plays 2nd and bats 8th, and Miguel Gonzalez, the pitcher, will hit 9th.
Defense for the Cubs. Coughlin, Alcantara, Caesar in the outfield. Valbuena, Baez, Watkins, Rizzo, third to first. Wellington, Castillo is doing the catching this afternoon, and Tsuyoshi Wada, 33-year-old left-hander, is on the mound for the 8th time.
That's Chris Cross. We're doing some 90s tunage, and I don't know what all we're going to play.
I thought he sang Sailing.
That's a different Chris Cross.
I knew that. 3-1, 2.75 the ERA for Wada through 7 starts, 39 in the 3rd innings. He's allowed 36 hits, 4 of which have left the field of play in fair territory. 10 walks, 33 strikeouts. That's probably been the most impressive thing about Wada, the strikeout numbers for a guy who does not throw particularly hard. He gets a lot of swings and misses at his fastball. And part of the reason why is because he's sneaky. The other reason is he's got good secondary stuff, so he mixes in that change-up, slider, and curveball as well.
Get the umpires today. It's Dan Isonia behind the plate. David Rackley at first. The crew chief there, Fieldon Colbreth at 2nd. Chris Siegel is at 3rd.
The Orioles, a good offensive team. The Cubs have held them down so far this weekend. They lead the major leagues in home runs. They've been really good against left-handed pitching in terms of just the numbers. The 752 OPS against lefties is the 4th best in the American League. And now we've got something going on in the Cubs dugout.
Okay. Culbreth,
they're waiting for Fielding to.
Yeah, he went over and talked to Buck, and then Sonia chatting with Ricky, but everybody's smiling. That's good.
Pit stop, perhaps.
So here's Markakis to lead it off. Okay. Wada set to work. Markakis sends the first pitch of the ball game out to Chris Coughlin in left. So 1 pitch, 1 out, and we'll get it out of the way right off the bat. If you remember these uniforms from 1994, a lot of people called them the Cuba uniforms because if you took a quick glance, you might think it says Cuba, but it says Cubs. What do you think? You like them?
I do like them. I do like them. I was in the other league at the time, so I don't remember them. Yeah, I like them.
The Orioles wearing the 94 throwbacks 2. 1 strike on Steve Pearce.
I would say I like them for once in a while. I wouldn't like them a lot.
Once every 20 years?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I love the tradition. I like the white uni at home and the gray on the road. But yeah, every now and then, a little something different. Every now and then, I put a little anchovies on my pizza. Just shake it up a little bit.
Swing and a miss. That's been a really good pitch for Wada. That 4-seam fastball that appears to rise as it gets near the zone.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a slow start to his delivery, and I think he uses that to his advantage. He gets, again, swings and misses at what appear to be very hittable fastballs. 89, 90, straight as a string up in the zone.
Well, squared up pretty well, but it's going to be caught by Alcantara in center for the out. 81 degrees, but a little breeze off the lake at 8 miles an hour. So very comfortable from our vantage point. Here's Adam Jones. A couple of hits yesterday. Knocked in a run with a double, but he made 2 iffy outs on the bases, especially one late in the ball game.
Yeah, tried to stretch a single into a double when they were down 4 runs in the 7th or 8th inning. It was the 8th. It's a good hustle play early in the ball game to try to get to second base with 2 outs, but when you're down by 4 late, you got to be a little more cautious. Talk about the Orioles hitters and their success against left-handed pitching. Jones may be the head of the class. 375 batting average, 433 on base, and slugging average up around 666. I'll tell you exactly what it is, but I can't read my own handwriting. 6 something.
I'd take a shot at it, but if you can't read your own writing,
I'm going to go 664.
Okay.
People need to know exactly what it is.
3 balls, no strikes. So Wada came over from Japan in 2012 after signing with the Orioles, but he suffered an elbow injury in that first spring training, had to go under the knife. Tommy John surgery May 11th of that year, so he never did get to the big leagues in the Orioles organization, and he's facing them today for the first time. Ball 4 to keep the inning alive.
Wada's been able to keep the walks down. That's the 11th he's issued this year.
They only make 20 starts at AAA for the Orioles, so a lot of these guys fairly unfamiliar with a pitcher who was in their organization for 2 full years. Now Nelson Cruz, a new career high 34 home runs. He hit his latest on Friday. And that leads the majors in a strike call. The Orioles have not had a losing road trip all year. They're 4-4 going into this one today on this current trip that started in Cleveland.
Good try. It's been a little bit in. Cruz, when he's at his best, is driving the ball from right center to left center. It's very good opposite field power. He has not been at his best lately. He did hit a home run in this series, a line drive to left off Arrieta, but month of August has not done a lot of damage.
One bounce. Baez will charge and throw and get him. A walk, no runs. The Cubs are coming up against right-hander Miguel Gonzalez. The 2014 Mazda 3 was seamless connectivity. Coughlin, Baez, and Rizzo at the top. Look at that. Javier Baez tied for first in the National League in home runs here in August. Balbuena, Castillo, Alcantara occupy the middle. Watkins, Caesar, and Wada 7 through 9.
Orioles, very good defensive ball club. They set up this way this afternoon. Adam Jones out there in center. He's got Cruz on one side, Markakis on the other. Davis pressed into duty now at third base with the Machado being done for the year. Hardy and Scope up the middle. Steve Pearce will get a lot of action at first base. Now Caleb Joseph behind the plate, and Miguel Gonzalez, a right-hander. He's 30 years of age. He's 6-6 with a 3.80. He's made 19 starts. He's appeared once out of the bullpen. The number that grabs your attention, the home runs. 20 home runs allowed in 113 2/3 innings. That's the third highest home run rate in Major League Baseball.
So he faces Chris Coughlin, who had the game-winning 3-run triple on the bottom of the second yesterday. It was his first career hit off Bud Norris in his 16th at bat. Ball one.
4-pitch mix for Gonzalez. Fastball that'll sit right around 90 miles an hour, and then curveball, splitter, slider, and he'll use each one of those pitches about 15% of the time.
So the Cubs put up 7 yesterday. That snapped their 17-game Wrigley Field streak, during which they scored no more than 4 runs. The longest such streak they had ever had in this ballpark. There's a breaking ball in the dirt.
What else we got on Miguel Gonzalez? 30 years of age, a whip of 1.41, an OPS against of 806. So both those numbers high. So his ERA 3.80 respectable, but some of the other numbers would lead you to believe he's been a little bit fortunate. Maybe he's just been good at working out of jams, pitching around that traffic.
Born in Mexico, Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Went to high school in San Fernando, California. 3-2.
Yeah, originally signed by the Angels as an undrafted free agent. See if this one catches the corner or not. A little bit off the plate. Dan Iasanya keeps that generous zone all afternoon.
Oh, what a play by Gonzalez. Behind the back, he snagged it.
Trying to keep a poker face, but he couldn't hold it. He had to smile eventually. Wow. He just throws his glove up, does a 360, and looks inside, says, yeah, I got it.
So that's how we're going to start, huh, Miguel? Okay.
Even if you're just showing off.
The bar has been raised. Here's Baez. And a strike.
Got everybody's attention in the Orioles dugout.
Strike called on Cutter. See that gold MLB patch on the right sleeve. Both teams have it. That's from '94. Adding to the authenticity of these throwback uniforms. That's the 125th anniversary patch in professional baseball.
Ultimately, things didn't work out so well for MLB in 1994.
This is true. No World Series that year as Baez takes a called third strike.
How about that? He was guessing ball there. Gonzalez pitching him as aggressively as any pitcher we've seen. Typically pitchers go out of the zone. With Baez, he was awfully aggressive in that 2-strike pitch right over the heart of the plate.
Rizzo 2 outs. Caught the inside corner for a strike. He has put together quite a year. An all-star campaign, in fact. Fans voted him in. Final spot on the NL roster. Digs that one out and trickles it foul. 0-2. Pretty good race, wouldn't you say? Nobody kind of running away with it at this point. Kind of like Abreu's chances. There's the leader, Nelson Cruz. Takes that one up. We have had since Tuesday 9 hours and 40 minutes of rain delays. 3:09 yesterday. We should be okay today. Let's hope. We don't expect anything, but the second we don't expect something, it happens.
Kind of a funky weather pattern around here the last few days.
The right-hander on a 2-2 and a swing and a miss to end the inning. Some ace of base right off JD's Walkman.
I saw the sign.
Yeah.
The game along with Rick Renteria. Log on to WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you watch from home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
So speculating here without any inside information, but just what we're seeing. Right now it looks like they're talking to New York. That's Field and Culbreth. I have a feeling, JD, the Orioles might have had an issue with their replay equipment. You saw Ricky on the phone in the dugout. And if that is the case, I do believe the managers can ask the crew chief for a review, and it's a crew chief review. They kind of get a freebie. But we don't have official word that that's what's going on. But I'm speculating based on the fact that that's the replay phone and the fact that they were just talking to New York.
Okay. I thought maybe Field and Culbreth was trying to upgrade his seat assignment for his flight out of here today, but you're probably closer to the truth than I am.
That might have been an add-on to the original conversation.
Yeah, while you're at it.
A strike on J.J. Hardy. Lana coming back. Fastball missed. Davis and Joseph also to bat here in the Orioles' second. Cubs are off tomorrow and they need it. They played 33 out of the last 34 days. Spent a lot of time, as we mentioned, at the ballpark this week with all the rain. And they're trying to sweep the Orioles. It will be their second such sweep of an American League East opponent. They won all three at Fenway Park.
Yeah, that was back at the end of June, 1st of July. Their last series sweep in this ballpark of 3 games was against the Mets, June 3, 4, and 5.
The Orioles have the longest stretch of any major league team this year, 74 games and counting, without having lost 3 in a row. So that's on the line today too.
Cubs could take a quantum leap forward in the power rankings by sweeping this series.
Good RPI, right?
Yeah, they might get a bowl game out of this. Yikes.
Oh, what a play by Valbuena. That ball literally knocked him over and dug out by Rizzo. We've seen a couple of highlight reel plays on defense. Gonzalez for the Orioles. Valbuena and Rizzo here.
Oh my, that was beautiful. I mean, this thing just takes him to the ground. Great concentration though, to the backside and up, and he gets his man.
Rizzo kind of saved him too on a
little sinker across there. Wow. Glad he had that extra cup of coffee this morning.
Here's Davis. And he takes a strike. He missed it yesterday. And Manny Machado's season is over. He's going to have surgery on that troublesome right knee. They're already without their catcher Matt Wieters, as well as Caesar will make the catch to get Davis.
Next homestand's 2000s decade celebration is being presented by Bank of America. Make sure to visit WrigleyField100.com for all the planned festivities. The Brewers and Pirates will be in town, so come on out to Wrigley before the end of the season. Tickets available at Cubs.com. We're winding down.
Now the catcher Caleb Joseph. Strike one. Joseph earlier this month homered in 5 consecutive games. It's an Orioles record for a catcher. They're celebrating their 60th anniversary season since moving from St. Louis to Baltimore in 1954. Broken bat grounder to Baez. Valbuena, who made that terrific defensive play, will lead off the bottom of the second. Let's do the Macarena.
Ooh, baby.
Be in Cincinnati coming up Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday afternoon / morning, 11:30 Central for the airtime right here on WGN. Then off to St. Louis next weekend. Ford, go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. More conversations between the umpires and the bench coach, in this case John Russell. It's got to be replay, right?
I don't know. I think you're onto something, though. That would be something that certainly would have concern with. I don't know.
Well, we haven't even had a replay today, and we've already had the game slowed down, which is, I guess, a bit ironic. Buck looks a little befuddled. Might have been wondering why we were playing Michael Bolton. Because it's the 90s. As Valbuena fouled off. I did sideline reporting for the Michael Bolton Softball Challenge in Appleton, Wisconsin. I think it was 1994 or 95.
He's a really good golfer. He's a good softball player?
Yes. It's not what my intentions were there. Valbuena lines out to Markakis. Let's go back to the decade of the 90s. Here are your World Series winners. The Reds. That was a big upset over the A's. Twins went worst to first with the Braves in '91. Had that classic World Series. The Blue Jays go back to back.
Touch them all, Joe.
The Braves in '95. That was the only one they won during that long stretch under Bobby Cox. The Yankees then won 3 out of 4 to finish up the decade with the Marlins over the Indians in '97.
That was right after they got rid of Buck Showalter.
High fly to deep left off the bat of Castillo. On the warning track is Cruz, and he makes the play.
A lot of good work with the Yankees. He was with them 92 through 95 as a manager. Finished first in 94. That was the strike year. Won the wild card in 95. And then in 96 they win the World Series. Same thing happened when he was in Arizona.
Yes.
He was there for the building, but not there to reap the reward.
Here's Alcantara with 2 outs. Nice day yesterday. 3 hits, a stolen base, scored twice. I want to give a shout out to Marty Lance watching in Iowa City, Iowa. Marty's son Jeff is a fine manager of media relations for the Orioles. Well, they watch us every day in Iowa City here on WGN. Can you arrange it that we play at Camden Yards the next time we see the Orioles?
I've been working on that.
I really want to see that ballpark. Scope. Quick flip. And the out to end the inning. No score after 2.
Blog at WGNTV.com. Sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 36 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Our Wrigley 100 post features Ernie Banks' last home run on this day in 1971. It was Matthew Sweet, who performed in Chicago recently. Wada back to work here in the third inning. No runs, no hits for either team. Swing and a miss by Scope. One base runner on the day. That was Adam Jones, who walked in the opening inning.
Scope, a young player with some power, doesn't walk much. Quick stroke. He played in the Little League World Series with Curacao back in 2003. Played in the All-Star Futures game in 2011.
Swing and a miss for strike three. First punch out for Wada. And we'd love to hear from you today. You can send us your Cubs selfies and hashtag WGN Cubs. Gonzalez 0 for 6 in his career, including 0 for 3 this season. Here's a pitch by Wada, and it's low for a ball. 2-0.
And change the thought from whatever you do, don't, to just throw a good fastball over the heart of the plate. Turn it loose. Don't aim it.
Bottom part of the zone on a fastball. Got some good stuff going on in the minor leagues. Kyle Schwarber has homered again today twice. Rizzo will take it to the bag unassisted.
The 30th annual Cubs convention will take place at the Sheraton, Chicago Hotel and Towers, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Room blocks are now open. Can be reserved by visiting CubsConvention.com or by calling 1-800-325-3535. Be sure to ask for the Cubs convention rate. All reservations come with convention passes built into the hotel package.
Here's Markakis for the second time. Knew he would take that when he swung at the first pitch of the ball game and fly it out. Iowa snapping an 8-game skid at Reno last night. Chris Bryant got on 6 times, 2 for 2, 4 walks, his 42nd home run of the year, combined AA and AAA. Buena does not have a play. I mentioned Bryant. Jorge Soler, a career high 5 hits in that game. 5 for 5. Albert Almora 3 hits for AA Tennessee. Schwarber has now hit a home run in each of his last 5 games, including 2 today, as we mentioned. Dan Vogelbach homered in each game of Daytona's doubleheader yesterday. That's a good day.
That's a real good day.
Kane County with its 13th consecutive win. Outfielder Jeffrey Baez, 4 homers in his last 6 games.
2-2 on Markakis. It's full with Pierce on deck. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of time between pitches. Looks like Valbuena will have room this time. Foul territory to end the inning. Another good start for Wada through 3. Boys to men as we go to break. 0-0.
Reunions and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftop.com or call 773-248-ROOF.
That's where it's at. Yep. Orioles and Cubs. Cubs shooting for the sweep. Was a #1 hit in 1990, was released in '89. It was still going strong when the '90s started. Watkins takes one high. Watkins was the Cubs minor league player of the year 2 years ago. Has become very versatile. He's played pretty much everywhere at the AAA level, and he pops one up. It'll be Pierce, the first baseman, for the catch.
Cracked his weapon right there. Let's take a look back at the Cubs managers in the 90s.
You're not on the list. There are a lot of Jims,
yeah,
though.
a lot of Jims. I should have applied.
Joe Altobelli just one game. That's Caesar starting in right. Justin Ruggiano still dealing with some left ankle soreness. Caesar made his big league debut 1 week ago today in New York against the Mets. A lot of family and friends in attendance. Gonzalez ready. Here's the 1-1. Hit on the ground to the shortstop Hardy.
Cubs are proud to salute the men and women of the United States Armed Forces and will honor them with a special ceremony prior to the Monday afternoon September 1st game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Fans who purchase tickets through the Cubs special events page will receive a special commemorative coin. Tickets are available only through Cubs.com/special events.
Tsuyoshi still searching for his first major league hit. He's 0 for 10. And a 1-1 count. Pirates have shaved a couple of games off the Brewers lead in the division. Actually, the Cardinals are in second, a half game back, but Pittsburgh now within 4 as they play the Brewers again today. As Wada with a swinging bunt, and he's going to reach. That'll be his first major league hit. It went about 25 feet, but it still counts.
They just rolled that ball over to the Orioles dugout, and the Cubs dugout is waving frantically saying, "Don't misplace that ball." They just threw it into the crowd. Let the negotiations
we need
begin.
it back.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. They got it. All right. Whew. Everybody can relax. Take a deep breath. Yoshi, he's not even thinking about his first big league hit. He's just trying to win a ball game. We'll appreciate his teammates going to bat for him to get that ball.
Milwaukee leading that game against the Pirates 4-2. They're in the top of the third at Miller Park.
Cardinals playing the best baseball in the division right now. They've won 8 of 10. Division race coming into focus now with the Reds in a tailspin. They've fallen way off the pace. Three-team race now.
That's a strike.
Reds are winning this afternoon. They're shutting out Atlanta 4-0. They shut them out last night 1-0. And Mike Leake. It's Alfredo Simon today.
Foul tip for strike 3, and that will end the inning. Third strikeout early on here for Gonzalez. Cubs baseball on the air. 1990, that was the open here on WGN, and Mark Grace played in more games than anybody. He and Sammy over 1,000. Rhino not far behind. So nothing ties. We get into the 4th inning. I want to give a shout out to all the great Cub fans on the Cubs message board. A little Q&A this morning with them.
They asked when Bryant was coming up?
Yeah. Next year would be most likely answer.
Did you let him down easy?
No. I
Break
just
their heart?
said, someone said, are we going to see Soler and Bryant in September? I said, Soler, definitely a chance. Bryant, not so much. He'll be here in due time. Pierce clubs one way foul. Down to Waveland, it appears. Yeah, the other question I get is about just the young players in general in September. How much are we going to see them? Obviously, you're going to see Baez and Alcantara. If Soler comes up, he'll play every day. You know, guys like Watkins and Caesar, I think they'll get spot starts. They're not quite considered in the same vein as some of the other younger prospects, but Watkins getting an opportunity here with Castro away. He's on the bereavement list. We don't know for sure when Starlin will be back, but probably Tuesday or Wednesday in Cincinnati. And then Baez will move back to second from short. Pierce went after that one. It got away from Castillo. He pounces on it. Throw to first in time.
Nice play by Castillo. Yeah. See him glancing over towards the dugout as if to say, man, barely got him. Found the ball in a hurry. That was the key. Feet slip a little bit, but he's able to keep his legs underneath him and get enough on the throw to get Pierce. I think the real challenge for Ricky Renteria in September is going to be the pitching part of it. Trying to get innings for some of these guys that we want to take a look at, that he wants to take a look at. Felix Dubront, Dan Straley perhaps, Jacob Turner.
Turner will start on Wednesday in Edwin Jackson's spot. Travis Wood will come back on a normal rest Tuesday. And then Dubront scheduled to work one of the doubleheader games in St. Louis on Saturday.
And he's making a rehab start for Tennessee today. He's allowed 3 hits, 2 runs in 3 innings. He's labored 70 pitches in 3 innings. No elevated heater here.
Foul tip, strike 3. Let's step aside and find out what's coming up on WGN. Glenn and JD and our WGN crew here at beautiful Wrigley Field. Interleague action, Orioles and the Cubs.
And a lot of orange in the ballpark this weekend. Not as much today as the first 2 games of this series. Some folks catching flights back to Baltimore. Charm City. So here's my question to you. And it
comes from Scott Lindholm, whose wife Lisa wanted to know why the scoreboard says Baltimore and then Cubs and not Baltimore and Chicago or Orioles and Cubs. Do you write Cubs or Chicago or some other abbreviation in your scorebook?
I don't identify the team in my scorebook by name usually. Sometimes at the end of the day I do if I want to write a line score, but I don't always put that in there. It's a home road thing.
Yeah, yes. I think most teams in all of sports do the nickname for the home team. And then
the city when you travel, that's the tradition.
Yeah.
Historically, that's what teams do.
But what I do Cubs. I abbreviate White Sox to CWS. I'll put NY Mets or NY Yankees. Because if I put New York, then I'm not quite sure which team it is. So now you could do that. You could do New York NL, Los Angeles NL. LAN, LAA.
But I think this, see, there's Chicago, there's the Sox playing the Yankees today. I think this is just playing off the tradition of the uniform where you would wear your city name on the road.
I got you.
And you'd wear your nickname at home.
But I don't think they ever use White Sox. We'll have to ask when the White Sox come here, does it say Chicago on the top and Cubs on the bottom or White Sox? I don't remember.
I would say it should say Chicago because this isn't their home park, if my theory is correct.
This doesn't make my head hurt quite as much as the conversation yesterday we had about the Orioles Caps, but pretty close. The 3-2 to Cruz. Swing and a miss. Wada strikes out the side. Still 0-0.
Don't even miss her. I'm a bad boy.
To Major Christ, the Cubs and Bank of America thank you for your service, sacrifice, and dedication.
Great to have Major Jason Christ here at the ballpark. He's been deployed 3 times, most recently returning from a second tour to Afghanistan. Currently lives in the Quad Cities area, stationed at Rock Island Arsenal.
Arizona Mike is at the ballpark today.
Strike called on Javi Baez.
Gonzalez doing a nice job of mixing his pitches. Secondary stuff working for him so far. very aggressive with Baez in that first at bat. He caught Javi looking. I suspect we're going to see a pretty big swing here if this pitch is in the strike zone. Maybe even if it's not.
Popped into center. It's Adam Jones for the out. Joe Panik, a very impressive looking hitter. Kenny Vargas has had a huge month of August for the Twins. Baez with the 7 home runs. I'll have to confirm. I think Mike Olt still leads National League rookies with 12 home runs. He's been in the minors for a while.
There's not a real bumper crop of rookies in the National League this year. Billy Hamilton with the Reds probably still the odds-on favorite to win the NL Rookie of the Year.
Oh, Rizzo sends it in the air and just missed one. Catch made by Cruz.
Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
See a lot of sailboats out on the water today. Hey, happy birthday, Mike Reiner, Cubs season ticket holder.
You are correct, sir. Mike Olt continues to lead National League rookies with 12 home runs. Travis d'Arnaud of the Mets right on his heels with 11. Colton Wong with 9, and then Javier Baez with 7.
So Baez could lead the league.
Good.
And homers by a rookie if he has a big September. Outside on Valbuena. Getting a lot of tweets from people on the White Sox Cubs question at Wrigley Field. Yeah, Chicago. There you have it.
Jesus, somebody was pitching a shutout that day for the Sox.
Cubs scored 8 in the 9th or whatever.
After Jeff Garland chanted 8 solo homers.
Another ball driven the other way. Cruz on the move. Calls it in. Pitcher's day to this point. The Orioles will bat. They don't have a hit so far through 4.
The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
This is the first game of the 1938 World Series.
Good stuff. 20 years ago, that was the open to our broadcasts here on WGN Sports. Tsuyoshi Wada has had a terrific week. Thought he had a 5-inning complete game shutout against the Giants before they protested the following day, and the Cubs did hang on and get the win, and he was credited with the victory. So I guess you could say, JD, these 4 innings today, if you had tacked that onto what he did Tuesday, would have pitched a 9-inning shutout.
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll get there today. Came in with an ERA of 2.75, 5 shutouts, 6 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts in that start against the Giants. So far, he's handcuffed the Orioles.
The 1-2 on the way to J.J. Hardy is up and in. Roller to Baez, ranging to his glove side. He gets it, gets rid of it quickly. Stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch a little later, brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. The lefty Dave Otto filled in on radio last weekend in New York, the first night we got on the team bus, and as we were getting on the bus, baseball fan with a book of cards said, "Mr. Deshays, could you please sign this?"
Yeah,
and like any good guy, he did. No.
Yeah, because he's tall, not as follically challenged as I am. Left-handed. I don't know if they could tell that by the way he was walking onto the bus. He looks like a old left-handed pitcher.
Dave is 6'8".
He's a member of the All Palindrome team. Pretty short roster, but he's on there. Toby Hara.
One and two on Davis. The pitch. Going outside, 2-2.
Good day at the yard right there. Don't forget the sunscreen.
Swing and a miss. Another punch out.
Cubs obviously hopeful that Wada would step into the rotation and pitch credibly, but he's been well beyond that. This has been very impressive. I don't know how long he can sustain it. But he's really doing a nice job establishing some value for himself. Could have been.
Got 5 strikeouts here. One off his career high. And struck out 6 on 3 different occasions. 2-0. Orioles have not enjoyed facing Cub pitchers who at one time were in the Orioles organization. Wada, the third such pitcher, have good success this weekend. Arrieta and Strop.
Yeah, this is throwing a little salt in the wound, isn't it? I mean, no fault of Wada's. He got hurt, but I think they paid him $8 million. And he never pitched in the big leagues for them because of injury. Now he's pitching a shutout against their club. Happens to be in a pennant race in a comfortable position, not quite as comfortable as it was when the weekend started. They've dropped a couple games to the Yankees this weekend.
Yeah, he got over $4 million per year in 2012 and 2013. Easy play, Matt. Caesar and right. Wada no hitting the Orioles through 5 as he cruises along. And whoa, surprise visitor.
That's a little creepy.
Well, the birds are here. It's TLC in the background. So Yoshi Wada is no hit the Orioles through 5, and he has the only hit for the Cubs.
He is the leading candidate for player of the day. Man of the match. Give him a couple runs and let him go to work.
His battery mate will lead it off. Castillo fly to the warning track and left in the second inning. Curveball strike. Gonzalez has been really good as well.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, the only base hit he gave up was the little roller by Wada. So, in essence, he's been every bit as good as Wada. But he's given up a knock.
1-2. Alcantara next. Here's racing over, and he makes the play. Cubs went to the playoffs one year in the 90s. That was 1998, 90 and 73. That extra game they beat the Giants to get to the postseason, where they lost to the Braves. Henry Rodriguez. Sammy, 66 homers, 158 knocked in. He slugged .647. We got the Gracie Beanie Baby looking over our shoulders.
Yeah. Theme today was this was the giveaway today, the Retro Toy Sunday here.
One lucky fan gets a real one.
Yeah, one lucky fan gets to take home a real one.
I don't know if I like that angle of the bird. Driven to deep right center. That ball back, and it is gone into the basket. Alcantara gives the Cubs the lead, his fourth.
He's starting to come out of a pretty deep funk. He had a nice day yesterday with 3 hits. One was just a little swinging bunt. The other 2 sharply hit, and there's home run number 4 for Arizmendi. That has to feel awfully good. Talked at the outset about Gonzalez and his home run rate among pitchers with at least 110 innings pitched. He had the 3rd highest home run rate in Major League Baseball, and Alcantara gives the Cubs a lead.
The rookie has been going through some adjustments here. There's a bunt by Watkins. Gonzalez will get him. But yeah, you know, just watching Alcantara go about his business, talking to the manager and the coaching staff. Not that the numbers haven't mattered, but the way he's handled it, nobody's really concerned about it.
Well, yeah, when you're in this phase, you're kind of developing young players at the big league level. That's one thing you watch for. Do they absolutely feel lost and defeated? You know, the kind of getting that deer in the headlights look about them with each passing at bat. And you worry about a young player's psyche, and Alcantara has handled himself very well through the tough times.
Yeah, that's one question I've gotten from fans. You know, well, wait a minute, Alt and Lake weren't allowed to kind of work through their struggles, and Alcantara is.
I'd argue that they were allowed. They had plenty of opportunities.
They were allowed, and I think they also were getting to the point as Caesar with a base hit.
Yes,
where their struggles, it was just kind of compounding.
Yeah, and it's really served Mike well to go back down. He got on a nice roll there at AAA, and so when he comes back to the big leagues, he'll have a better chance to have success. Player would never admit it, but sometimes they appreciate the demotion when you're struggling that badly to get taken out of the pressure cooker. You say, wait a minute, Cubs aren't in a pennant race. No pressure cooker. It's a lot of pressure playing at the big league level, especially for a young player, regardless of where your team is in the standings.
So Tsuyoshi has his run, 1-0. 2 balls and a strike.
Caesar's speed is kind of wasted in this situation with 2 outs. You don't want him running with the pitcher up. The value having speed in the 8 hole with 1 out, where your pitcher's trying to get a bunt down. You like to have that speed. You could beat a force play at second base.
Strike 2, it's full. Runner goes and a liner, and Wada hit that one hard, but for an out. He's had a good day at the plate. Alcantara with a home run, and the Cubs lead 1-0. To you by Xfinity's Tsuyoshi Wada has gone into the 6th without allowing a hit today.
Got that invisible working. There's an off-speed pitch there to get Cruz. Take a look at the early return since the July 5th trade. Wada 7 starts, 3-1 with a 275 plus today. Kyle Hendricks 5-1, .178 in 8 starts. Smarsh has been mostly good with Oakland at 4.07 ERA. He had one really bad one inflating his ERA. Some Jason Hamilton really struggled. It was surprising because he was awfully good in a Cub uniform.
Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Wada was a Pacific Coast League All-Star, so at a couple of different levels he has been terrific this season. 10-6 with a 277 at Iowa, 3-1 with a 275 here. Jonathan Schoop takes a strike. Does he remind you of you at all? He's been living upstairs.
Well, in that, yeah,
quite a bit.
in that he has doesn't have plus velocity, but he can pitch upstairs effectively. He's of that ilk. Sid Fernandez was that way. Chris Young, he may be the king of it right now in Major League Baseball, a big righty.
Fouled back. Wada, born in Izumo, Japan. 17 wins, 2010. Pitched for Fukuoka in the Pacific League. Filled it up 3-2 with the pitcher Gonzalez on deck.
You have to remember your scouting report here. Know that Scope hardly ever walks. He might chase the splitter down. He might offer at that elevated fastball.
Wada had the nickname Dr. K in Japan. Deep breath. Hands over his head in the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. When in doubt, he's gone with that high heat.
That's the one. And again, you've got the Orioles. We talked about this the very first day of this series. This is a club that has a lot of dangerous hitters, but they have hitters who have holes that could be pitched to and be exploited if you can execute a game plan. And that's what's happened this weekend with the Cubs pitchers. Done a real nice job. Work by Mike Borzella and company putting together the scouting report on this Oriole lineup.
One and nothing on Gonzalez. Caught the outside corner. In college, Wada went over 52 consecutive scoreless innings. White Sox just tied the Yanks in the ninth. It's 4-4 in that one. Rays and Blue Jays are 1-1 in the ninth. Another foul, this time to the top of the screen.
Waseda University, is that how you say that school that he went to?
Right, yep. Strike 3 on the inside, a new career high with his 7th strikeout.
And the fans starting to respond now to Wada. The ones that aren't being distracted by pigeons anyway. This one borderline, but he gets the call.
Well, you know, you do get to a point in an afternoon where you start kind of earning those corners and getting them from Dan Iasonia right now.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a conscious decision by the umpire who say, oh, this guy's throwing strikes, so I'm going to give it to him. You just get into a rhythm. He's throwing a lot of strikes. Umpire gets into the rhythm of anticipating strike. He sees it close, rings it up. He is dealing.
So Markakis now trying to gather his thoughts. Two strikes on him. 2 down in the 6th.
Missed a spot there, but he got away with it. And you're more likely to do that when you have the jump on the hitter. Hitter's in protect mode. He's not going to cheat on that fastball. They're trying to go down and away, and it's leaking back over the middle of the plate. But with 2 strikes, Markakis not as aggressive, and he's a little late. Had to fight to lay off that one. Markakis, a left-handed hitter, that's apparent, but he's hung in there well against left-handed pitching this year. Doesn't hit for power, but he maintains a good average.
He strikes out the side. Well, you may want to jump on Twitter, send some texts, get people to pay attention here to Wada. He's going to go into the late innings with a no-hitter. It's 1-0 Cubs as they'll bat in the bottom of the 6th.
Celebrate Oktoberfest night in the Budweiser bleachers during the Wednesday, September 3rd game. The Brewers are in town. Purchase your special Budweiser bleacher tickets through the special events page to redeem an exclusive limited edition Cubs glass mug. Tickets are only available through Cubs.com/special events.
Cubs leading 1-0. On an Alcantara home run. Wada with 88 pitches through 6. It's a lot, but he looks strong. Gonzalez nearing 70. Pop down the right field line. That ball will land fair. And Coughlin's got a double to start the inning.
It sure would be nice to provide a little breathing room for Wada. Let him work with a more comfortable lead, and a good start here in the bottom of the 6th. Leadoff double for Coughlin. They've been 0 for 2. Gonzalez made a circus play on him to start the bottom of the first. Behind the back, over the head catch. Then he punched him out. Coughlin wins this battle.
Baez has struck out looking and fly to center. He bunts and he pops it up. I think he was doing that on his own. A sneak attack. One away.
I'm sure his thinking is, well, I'm going to bunt for a base hit here, and if at least I get it down. If they get me, I get Coughlin to third base. I imagine his manager would just prefer that he swing that big bat of his, especially since we're only in the 6th inning.
Gonzalez to Rizzo inside. All hitters today combined 4 for 38. Cubs have all 4 hits. That's how good these two starters have been. Gonzalez now in their rotation for Ubaldo Jimenez, who came out of the rain delay and looked pretty good yesterday in relief.
Jimenez had been hurt, was on the DL and rehabbing, ultimately had to be activated. When they did that, they sent out Gonzalez, so he's been down in AAA for just a little bit. And then they decided to move Jimenez to the pen.
4 innings, 1 run for Jimenez yesterday.
To get Gonzalez onto the roster for the start today, they sent infielder Cord Phelps out. He was actually designated for assignment.
The 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Into left, and the Cubs will add to their lead. Here comes Coughlin. Rizzo to second with a double. Drives in his 70th run of the season. 2-0.
Coughlin lofts one to right for a double. Rizzo lines one to left for a double. 2-seamer running away. Flat though, didn't have much downward movement. He was able to stay right on it, hit it sharply into the left field corner. Big man cruises in with a 1-out double. Always felt the sweet spot for a pitcher was to pitch with a 3 or 4 run lead. Anything bigger than that means you probably had some long innings in the dugout, tough to stay sharp. Closer than that, you're a little tentative, don't want to make a big mistake. And here, you know, in this situation, working on a no-hitter, Wada, he has a comfortable enough lead. He can, you know, tiptoe around a dangerous hitter if need be, not give in a hitter's count. Those thoughts probably not really crossing his mind. He's just locked in one pitch, one hitter at a time.
Now Buena bounces foul. on this date, 1983, here at Wrigley Field, Chuck Rainey one hit the Cincinnati Reds. Eddie Milner had the only hit. 2 outs in the ninth. Jones over into left center, makes the grab. Rizzo back to second. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Back here at Wrigley Field, Tsuyoshi Wada has no hit the Baltimore Orioles, his original major league organization, although he never did pitch in the big leagues for the Orioles. He got hurt in the first spring training with them, 2012. Had to have Tommy John surgery. Since he's come up with the Cubs this year, he has been fantastic. And we have seen him at his absolute best through 6 today. He has allowed 1 base runner. That was a first inning 2-out walk to Adam Jones. He has struck out the side twice. And right now with a 2-0 advantage. Castillo swings and misses. And 2. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and email, of course. Outside.
It's a neat look from behind home plate. That'll be the next technology, right? If you could see it as the hitter sees it with the velocity and everything, what would it feel like to stand in there against 96 miles an hour?
Nice play by Pierce. He had to navigate around the edge of that tarp and made the play. Wada back to the mound in the 7th. Got our WGN Cubs fan cam. It's a WGN Cubs fan cam. Shiny Happy People by REM. Lefty Day. Tsuyoshi Wada here in the 7th facing Steve Pearce. And he goes with a curveball for a strike. And we've got a lefty in the booth. Dave Otto's with us. This has been fun.
Oh. Boy, I'll say. Do you sense that there's a little bit of a turning point with this organization?
Well, there's a drive, and it's going to find Waveland. So Steve Pearce breaks up the no-no by hitting a long home run, 2-1.
That is not me, Len.
I know.
JD.
You didn't throw the pitch.
No, it is not you.
He got
One
all
big
of it.
swing of the bat by Steve Pearce, and he's capable. He's having a nice year. We've talked about him a lot this weekend. Part-time player who's playing a lot now, and he can swing it. Made a good pitch to get started, and then fastball got a good chunk of the plate, and Pearce got a good chunk of the baseball, and Chris Bosio is going to go out and have a word with Wada, and bullpen will start to heat up.
What, you ever broadcasting games through the years, and obviously you guys have done it for a long time, the old hesitant sometimes to talk about something on the air is you jinx somebody.
Yeah, we've gone over that a lot. I take my cue from Vince Scully, who basically says that he needs to tell people what's going on. So,
yep.
Yeah, I think the jinx thing is more in the dugout. And there are a few guys who've thrown no-hitters who admitted that they talked to their teammates about it while it was happening.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what pitcher it was. Said, "Hey, I'm throwing a no-no, guys."
Yeah.
On the 7th, 8th inning.
Everybody relax in here. Don't panic. We're good.
Right. So no, I don't buy that stuff. I know they're talking about it in the other booth.
Oh, yeah.
The Orioles guys have been talking about it. So. Here's Jones. Now try to keep the leading by a run. Dave, I told the quick story. You got on the team bus the other day in New York, and someone shoved a baseball card in your face and said, "Mr. Deshays."
Yeah.
I enjoyed that very much. I think you did too. Let's see, Rizzo now over into the bullpen. Watkins makes a catch. That ball ended up fair. It might have ended up being a double if he hadn't caught it.
Yeah, no such thing as an easy play, I guess, on a day like today with the sun, the sky overhead, the wind, and what a great reaction. Watkins saving the day. It's one of those deals, boy. Ball in the air, everybody should converge because you just never know who's going to track it, who's going to lose sight of it. You see, Rizzo never really had a good feel for it. Watkins comes flying out of nowhere to make the play.
This feels like a little bit of a stall tactic here as Castillo is out. Looks like it is Ramirez cranking it up in the bullpen. So, yeah, two tall lefties.
I'm not 100% sure how to spell Jimmy's last name, but I did sign a couple of balls eventually.
Just with the inscribble.
You
just
it was ridiculous. At least
Look
5
at
times.
all that hair you have, man.
I know, I'm flowing.
Wada will get a nice hand. He no-hit the Orioles through 6 today, and he'll turn it over to the bullpen when we come back. From Ramirez, and they did from Wada.
Yeah, the bullpen's been outstanding of late. Neil Ramirez, the hard-throwing righty, comes in for the finesse lefty. Ramirez worked an inning yesterday, allowed a hit, no run. So going back-to-back for the first time since coming off the disabled list. 38th appearance, and he's pitched to a 1.14 earned run average. You know, Wada probably had a little more left in the tank, but now you're protecting a 1-run lead against these right-handed power hitters that the Orioles are setting up there. So Ramirez, a good guy to try to neutralize that.
And it will be Nelson Cruz here with 1 out. He's hit more homers than anybody in baseball with 34. Here's the pitch.
Yeah, I guarantee you what Ricky Renteria said when he went out there was, we're going to help you out here. You've done your part. 6 1/3, 1-run ball. It's a 1-run game. We're not going to, certainly not going to leave you out here to lose it. Turn it over to this hard-throwing bullpen. Much improved bullpen over last year.
So, Dave, parts of 8 seasons in the big leagues, and Chicago native, you finish your career here with the Cubs 20 years ago, 1994.
Yeah, that's something. And these jerseys, in '94, I think that's when the Cubs busted these jerseys out.
You're right. Yeah. 2-1.
What do you remember about that year?
Well, it was a strike year. But you know, a lot of the Cub players. I mean, that was I mean, there were a lot of crazy things that happened that year. I saw Firehouse Chat, Tom Troublehorn speaking to the fans. They got called up. Ryan Sandberg quit that year. Mid-season, he ended up coming back. I think maybe the year or 2 after that. But that was strange. We were getting on a team charter to go out west, and found out that Rhino had shut it down. So, boy, he was fun to play with. My goodness. Him and Gracie.
3-1 now. Dangerous count against Cruz. And he walks to bring up J.J. Hardy.
I'm guessing Gracie would have been the biggest personality in the clubhouse.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah. You know, Rhino one time, Sandberg had a play. I was pitching. I was covering first base. Ball hit between Gracie and Sandberg. And Sandberg went to his left, and he spun around and made an unbelievable play. Spun around, I'm covering first, and he threw it just a little bit to my left. So it was a little off, but you know, I'm a great athlete, and I made the play.
Well chronicled.
Right, yeah. Made the play. Afterwards, Rhino, sitting in the dugout, apologized and said, "Hey, I forgot you were left-handed. I threw to the wrong, I forgot that, glove side, which side." It's like, really? I mean,
in most cases, you're just happy if they get in the general area.
Yeah, he was.
It was Hardy. Look out. Got away from Neal.
Those guys are special. The ones that.
Yeah, they kind of their skill set is next level, and they think next level too.
Well, the process matters a lot. So it wasn't that you got the out; it was that Rhino thought, "No, I got to do that better." Cubs hanging on to a 2-1 lead as they try to sweep the Orioles. So 94 season ends prematurely. What was your odyssey like in the spring of 95? You went to Homestead?
I was at Camp Homey. I was
down in Florida. That was basically where all the
free agents,
all the guys who didn't have
a
team, they all went, and that had to be a strange,
really bizarre. There were all kinds of, great players that were free agents, and so at the beginning of the camp, it was filled with superstars, media attention, and then one by one, players would go off and sign, and with their teams, and by the end, it was myself, Vince Coleman, Jay Howell, and we just play catch. It was bizarre. It was like, what's that? And certainly Vince Coleman and Jay Howell were great players, but it was that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with the misfit toys or whatever. Yeah. It was like,
nobody wants a Charlie in the box. That was
They would show up at camp and say, "I'm not going to sign one autograph today." There was nobody there.
2-1 on Hardy. Well, he had a healthy hack at that one.
So for the folks that don't know, so strike, lockout. That year, I actually signed a minor league deal. Went to minor league camp with the Phillies, but the other option was to remain a free agent and go to this camp. The Players Association set that up, correct?
Yes.
So all you guys went there and slowly but surely leaked out of there.
Yep.
And who ran the workouts? Was there any kind of, or just like a bunch of guys hanging out? Let's do a little throw.
Jackie Moore was there.
Sure. Long time big league coach. That will be caught by Alcantara. 2 outs.
I think it was like, for lack of a better term, free agent coaches.
Is that right? Coaches are unattached as well?
Yeah, I think so. That was it was interesting.
I happened to see some of the replacement games that spring, and there were a couple guys who you could tell might be able to hang around, but it was different.
Yeah,
it was very different, and that was a very tense time too.
It really was. Boy, baseball's in such a better state now.
Davis with 2 outs, a run in on the leadoff homer by Pierce. Their only hit to this point. And it's off the outside corner on a fastball. And you were drafted by the Orioles, right, out of high school?
Second round, yep. Just too young. Figured I'd get lost.
So you went to college instead.
Yep.
I think the right choice. Do you remember what you were offered?
$70,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year is this?
1982.
82.
70,000. That was second round money. I think second round money is a little bit different now.
Yeah, you might have had a tougher choice now.
You know what 21st round money was in 1982?
Bucket of baseballs?
$1,500, baby. Take it or leave it, pal.
Now the punchline is the Bob Uecker line. It's all I could afford.
Right. Yeah. My dad couldn't cough up anymore.
Probably threw in a rosin bag too, huh? Nice.
1-2 to Chris Davis. Caleb Joseph on deck. Cruz is at first. He walked.
A heater up above the hands.
Go down, and he didn't offer at it.
Well, if you're down, if you keep it off the outside or down around that outside corner, he's probably not going to hurt you down there.
It's a sign from Castillo. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Time now for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Budweiser.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, former Cubs pitcher Dave Otto.
All right, Cub fans, let me hear you. On 1, on 2, on 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back for its root. Root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's get some runs.
Took a no-hitter into the 7th. Pierce broke it up with a long home run on the way. But Alcantara gave the Cubs the lead with a homer in the 5th. Anthony Rizzo adding on in the 6th. Start something special with great leases and low financing on a new Honda. Visit shophonda.com or go to your local Honda dealer. Gonzalez continues on. This will be his last inning. He's due up 3rd in the top of the 8th. With his team trailing, Showalter will definitely pinch hit for him.
In the 5th, fastball, two-seamer, gone. That's number 4 for him.
Base hit in the right. He's got 5 hits now in the last 2 days. Very nice development.
Talk a lot about the approach to hitting. Hit what you can handle, attack what you can handle early. If you get 2 strikes, then you have to make some compromises. Much better fastball hitter, and he struggled with the off-speed stuff down.
Well, you've got a 1-run lead. Generally, managers are a little more aggressive in this spot as they try to add on. So we'll see if Alcantara will be on the move here soon. Brad Brock up in the Orioles bullpen. The pitch. High fly to center. Jones roaming out there as Alcantara goes back to tag, but he's going to hold it first. One away. Here comes Buck Showalter. That'll be it for the Orioles starter. Brock coming on when we come back. Orioles go into their bullpen.
A big, lanky, hard-throwing right-hander Brad Brock. 31st time this year, second time in the series. Fastball there, two-seamer at 91. He'll get up to 96 with his fastball. Two and four-seamer, slider and a splitter. Works from the first base side of the rubber, but steps towards a third baseline and then throws back across his body. That makes it awfully tough on right-handed hitters.
One strike on the rookie Caesar. And a nod today in right field. 1 for 2 so far. There goes Alcantara. Here's the throw to second. He is safe.
A big, tall right-hander profiles as a guy you should be able to run against, but Joseph behind the plate, you know, he changes the equation a little bit. He's thrown out 45% this year, so it's a bit of a challenge to run on him. Alcantara not a real big lead, pretty good jump, and it's all rendered moot as Scope never does secure the baseball. You know, Alcantara go deep. Now he steals a bag. I think he might have got a knee in the chin as well for his efforts.
Punched foul the other way. Nationals lead the Giants 8-6. As they go to the bottom of the 7th, Blanco and Ishikawa have homered for San Francisco. Ian Desmond with his 21st. Big 6-run 6th, giving Washington the lead.
Good aggressive swing there by Caesar. At times it looks like he's been just feeling for the ball. He has not had a lot of playing times. A handful of at-bats.
The New York American League Club beat the Chicago American League Club on a Brian McCann 3-run homer in the bottom of the 10th. 7-4 the final. Popped up. Scope goes out. He's calling off Markakis, and he makes the play. 2 down. It'll bring up a pinch hitter, Ryan Sweeney.
Al Brock, he's been able to neutralize left-handed hitters too. They're hitting just 205 against him.
Right down the middle for a strike.
Yeah, tough on everybody. 3 home runs total. Make a play. A little short of us.
Brock now set, hands chest high, and Sweeney pulls that one foul. 32,774. This sunny afternoon.
Beautiful day at the ballpark. The little guy's sending a tweet. Checking his stocks maybe. Playing a little words with friends. It's like, is goo a word?
Left field, that ball's going to land foul right at the sidewall.
Well, we were talking earlier about Mike Olt leading rookies in home runs. He's been tied. Travis d'Arnaud hit his 12th today.
Okay. Mets are in Los Angeles, so 1-1 in the second. Now Kevin Correa.
Pretty good though, Mike. You held that lead for a long time without being here. Brewers 4, Pirates 2, bottom of the 8th in Milwaukee. Mike Fiers, who punched out 14 Cubs here a couple starts ago. Good again today. 7 innings of 2-run baseball for the Brewers. Struck out 7.
Brock will pick it up. Good throw to first. And that will end the inning. Cubs lead by a run late. Former Oriole Pedro Strop here in the 8th inning. Cubs with a 2-1 lead.
Orioles are getting tired of seeing former Orioles the way they have performed against them this weekend. Arrieta, Wada, Strop was good in relief, and now he'll get another turn.
Joseph, the catcher, fouls. Fastball at 95. Scope and then a pinch hitter.
Strop and Scope. It's a good matchup. Orioles saw Strop really good for them and then really bad. Debuted with the Rangers in 2009. 22 appearances in 2009 and 10 with the Rangers. Split 11 with Baltimore and Texas, mostly in the minor leagues for those seasons. In 2012 with Baltimore, he pitched 70 times, had a 2.44 ERA. Last year, however, with the Birds, a 7.25 ERA, and he's just been good since joining the Cubs.
Foul tip, strike 3 on a slider. Let's go back to 1997. The Orioles won the American League East that year. 2 years ago, 2012, they were a wild card team, and that was their first postseason berth and winning season since '97. So they had 14 straight losing campaigns after the '97 season and before winning that wild card in 93 games in 2012.
Yeah, well, you know, Buck Showalter has earned that reputation of being able to take a team on the on the bottom and bring them up, and it's like he's headed to the postseason again.
They did, however, have a 9-game lead when this series started, but with the Yankees winning in extras today, it's down to 6.5, and the Orioles trailing here with 5 outs to go. But it is 2-1. It's a tight one. Gets by 2-1.
William Nathaniel Showalter. I called him Nat as a kid, and then Ed Napoleon, longtime Major League coach, minor league coach and manager, nicknamed him Buck while Buck was playing for Nappy in Fort Lauderdale, Florida State League.
Popped him up. Baez makes the catch. Well, everybody remembers this. If you were around, 1996 ALCS. Tony Tarasco goes back, tries to make a catch, but a young fan named Jeffrey Mayer made the catch instead. There was no fan interference called. Controversy. Bob Costas actually on the call, Costas. But that's what Howard would have said.
Yep. See, interesting, so obviously no replay there. Right? Richie Garcia was out there with a call. I'm not convinced Tarasco is going to catch this ball.
No, but it would not have gone out.
Would not have gone out for sure.
Delman Young with his first appearance of the series. Pinch hitting and fouls out of play.
So what's the ruling? Fan interference, and we'll put him on second base?
I think it was a home run, right?
No, yeah, it was. But I'm saying if you had the benefit of replay.
Yes.
I don't think you can call him out.
No, I would agree.
Jeffrey Mayer was 12 years of age at the time.
Young gets hit. Strop not real happy with himself. Ahead in the count, he plunks Young. Nick Markakis came in with 4 consecutive 0 for 4s, and he is trying to avoid another one. 0 for 3 in this one. He's going to be 0 for 4 as Watkins throws him out. Strop with a scoreless 8. Cubs lead 2-1. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Ford, manufacturers of America's best-selling brand. Check out our best-selling lineup at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. And by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. People enjoying August. And we've had summer-like weather here lately, which has been great. Cubs leading 2-1. Brian Mattis, a left-hander, facing Chris Coughlin, and a swing and a miss on a high fastball. Strike 1.
Well, what do we know about Brian Mattis? He's 2-3 with a 4.01. He's on for the 54th time. He's more of a finesse type left-hander. However, average pretty much a strikeout per inning. So here's a fun little factoid. I looked up Jeffrey Mayer, the young man who made that play. He is actually the all-time career hits leader at Wesleyan University.
I saw that he was a pretty good player. I don't think he got drafted.
I don't believe so either. The all-time saves leader at Wesleyan University is none other than
Jed Hoyer.
Yes. It's kind of one of those small world kind of deals, isn't it?
For sure. That kid could be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. You don't know. One and two to Coghlan. Cubs leading 2-1. Tsuyoshi Wada took a no-hitter into the 7th before Steve Pearce homered off him. And to date, the only Orioles hit. Pop out of play. No more details why, but the Astros, during their 3-1 loss in Cleveland, vacated the dugout for a mid-game team meeting.
Really?
Pierce will take it to the bag unassisted. Yeah, there was a shot during the game of the dugout, and there was not one person in it. How about that?
I've seen dugouts clear out for other reasons, but I don't know what that's all about.
So Baez bats. It's Darren O'Day up in the Orioles bullpen.
Well, Bull Porter, the manager of the Astros, football background, played football at the University of Iowa. He's a real rah-rah kind of guy. Maybe he just rallied the troops in the tunnel. Inspirational speech or something. Worked for Jackie Robinson West yesterday. Those are those little league coaches. And a lot of them got to rally the troops together, keep those kids focused, keep their chins up.
Change-ups to start the at-bat. That's a fastball, and it's a strike, and it's 2-1. Next batter will be Rizzo.
There's a fun little Baez factoid somebody tweeted yesterday. Javi Baez has 1 fewer home runs than David Wright and 2 fewer strikeouts than Victor Martinez. Pretty much been everyday players all year long.
He's the first player to hit 7 homers in his first 19 career games since Chris Davis, who's playing third right now, did it with Texas in 08. Big swing. 3-2.
He's not dumping it off to any secondary receivers. He's looking to go long. Maybe. Conditions are right. He might be able to go 460. He's just going to walk back to the dugout.
Second time he's been caught looking today. 2 down.
Good call by home plate umpire Dan Isanya. Even though he missed his spot all the way to the other side of the strike zone, the ball did catch the inside corner.
Hardy stays over on the left side of second. Everybody else on the right side. Davis plays between Pierce and Scope. Rizzo just got hit on a breaking ball. Scope got hit in the top of the inning, but it looked like it was completely unintentional with Strop ahead of him 1-2. I should say Young got hit, not Scope.
That's just a breaking ball. It slipped out of his hand. You wouldn't throw anybody down, in the bottom of the 8th in a 1-run game.
When it's 77.
You wouldn't do it with a breaking pitch either.
So it's Valbuena now. In the ninth, the Orioles will have Pierce, Jones, and Cruz against Hector Rondon, the Cubs closer. Very quiet in the ballpark at the moment. Ground ball, backhanded by Pierce. He'll take it unassisted, and we will go to the ninth. It's the Cubs 2 and the Orioles 1 as the Cubs look for the sweep. Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Cubs.com for details. Wilco, 2-1 Cubs as we play the ninth. Pierce homered to lead off the seventh, and he got all of it off Wada, and that's the lone Baltimore hit all day.
Rondon picked up his 20th save on Friday. He did it in perfect 1-2-3 fashion. Used just 8 pitches to finish off that ball game. He's been on a very nice roll of late.
97, but missed.
1 walk, 17 strikeouts over his last 20 innings pitched.
Popped him up. Is there a play to be made? There's not. Only by a fan. It hit an empty chair.
The lone hit of the game for the Orioles. This swing of the bat by Pierce, breaking up the no-hitter and the shutout all at one time off of Wada.
Rizzo is over.
That home run by Pierce was his 14th. A slugging percentage better than .500.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That's number 1. Been a while since the Orioles suffered a 3-game series sweep. That was back in mid-May versus Detroit. Cubs win today would shave 3 full games off the Orioles lead at the end of the series from the start. They were 9 up going into Friday. Right now 6.5 ahead of New York. Baez coming on. 2 down.
Well, Baez made all the plays since taking over at shortstop. He's looked very comfortable. He's looked smooth. Well, that 3-game sweep at the hands of the Tigers, the only time this year that the Orioles have been swept in a 3-game series.
Cruz bounces foul. Off day tomorrow. And 7 games over 6 days on the road. 3 in Cincinnati, 4 in St. Louis, including a doubleheader on Saturday.
That's a good theater, isn't it? Guy throwing 97 miles an hour, the major league home run leader in the batter's box in a 1-run ball game.
A windup in the pitch. On the ground is short. Baez to Rizzo. Cubs win. Cubs sweep the first place Orioles. 2-1 the final. And they hold Baltimore to 4 runs the entire weekend. One hit given up today by Tsuyoshi Wada, Neil Ramirez, Pedro Strop, and Hector Rondon. 2-1 the final. We'll be back to Wrigley Field in a moment.